Welcome to episode 13 of La Vida Entre Primas, Life Between Cousins, the podcast where we dive into everything from the ups and downs of love and life to the special bond we share as Latinas and cousins. Today we're going to talk about some special people we've lost and what it feels like to lose someone special.
Wow, you really jumped in.
I know, you guys didn't even
ready.
ready. You guys put your phones down.
You got things to do. No. Real life. This is real life. This is post-Turkey Day, post-genocidal holiday, because I didn't mention that last time, and I wasn't problematic enough, and I was very disappointed in myself. This chair is really creaky. I'm not going to be able to move.
You want to switch them?
No, I'm good. All right.
Today we have a special guest with us.
Yay.
We're contemplating adding a third host to the podcast.
I mean, listen.
And she happened to show up this morning, so we'll see if it works out. This is your audition.
Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you for having me back.
So like Alma shared, we're going to talk a little bit about losing family. I think we've talked, or losing loved ones. We've had now about 13 episodes. I think this is number 13, lucky number 13.
Uh-oh.
And we typically talk about someone else. Oh, wow.
Grandma died September 13th.
Yes.
Episode 13. Oh God, we didn't even.
Oh my God, we didn't
just
plan
chime
this.
in, girl. Just chime in.
I know.
Don't wait. She like pointed fingers at both of us.
You just jumped right in. We always talk about someone that we lose in every episode or every other episode, and we say, we'll come back to that. We'll talk about them a little bit more in a later episode. And I think we need to give them their flowers now. I think that the people that we've lost have really shaped our lives, and it's time for us to talk a little bit about them, what it was like, what their lives were like, and what it was like to lose them. And it runs the gamut from like very, very close family to friends that were close to people of all ages. So we just also want to acknowledge that loss is a universal experience. It's kind of, what do they call death? The great equalizer. Like everybody is the same when it comes to loss and grief and losing somebody. I don't know if you guys want to talk a little bit why this is important to you, or what it means to you, or what you're.
I think for me, it's important because I don't feel like it's talked enough about.
Taboo.
Taboo. Yeah, that's a good word. It's just not.
I'm going to change a chair while you talk. Carry on.
It's just not talked enough about, or like, it's like, oh yeah, they passed away and there we go. Like, we move on with life. It's just not talked about. It's just not shared enough. And I think to help keep their memory, although I've heard that like if you continue talking about people, they have to like leave their grave sites. And I'm like,
What?
have you never heard that?
What?
I don't know. It might be like a legend, obviously.
Tell me.
Like whenever you talk about like someone who has died, they like their spirit like has to like unrest and like go towards where you're at.
Who told you that?
I don't know.
Nana's like super unrested.
I know.
Nana's exhausted.
Nana's like, I was just on this podcast. You never heard that before?
That. Who told you that?
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe I just got it from like Coco or.
Oh, I know. Okay, Mama Coco.
Or the book of life. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. So yeah, I think just because it's so taboo and like.
It's going. Okay. Yeah. So we just talked a little bit about these folks and about the people in our lives that are important. We're going to share some stories, discuss grief, and like we mentioned, honor the people that we've lost. So I don't know if you have a personal story about loss that's meaningful to you, someone that you lost that's close to you. Obviously, we talk about Nana all the time and how that was like what do they call it? It was like, I don't know. I don't even have a word for it, but it was
punch to the gut.
Listen, that's a great way to describe it. But it's like one of those moments in your life, like a milestone moment, or like a moment that you'll never forget. For me, it's like my wedding, the birth of my kids, the death of my grandmother's, like one of those.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have something like an experience or a story before we jump into this. I've made a list of people and we can add to it. But
yeah, no, I think the one that stands out the most to me because we're so close in age is my friend Natalie, our friend Natalie. We went to elementary school together. She was OLG for life. Her kids went there.
So fun too.
So fun. Always just like, she didn't give
Life of the party.
Life of the party.
Uh-huh.
She did not care. Like, let people talk about me. I really don't care. This is who I am. And so in 2019, she got diagnosed with leukemia. She got diagnosed with leukemia in 2019. And then it was pretty aggressive. It was the aggressive form of leukemia. And they weren't able to find, she did radiation, chemo, tried to get into all these different studies. But unfortunately, in July of 2019, she passed away. July, towards the end of, we were at the beach. And Steph called me to tell me, or no, her husband.
Talk about someone
her husband
that
called me.
lived for her kids.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And I remember, you know how you remember certain things? I remember I don't know if I was living in my old house. No, we were in our house now, but I was at Food for Less. I even remember which one, in Santa Fe Springs, and I was walking around, and I remember when this first started, she was posting Snapchat. She was like my Snapchat homegirl, right?
Yeah.
She was so funny on Snapchat. And I remember her posting like, I've been sick. I don't know what's going on, but I have, what is that? When your lung, pneumonia.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, I have pneumonia. It keeps coming back. And I remember that's the day that they found cancer because they were trying to treat the pneumonia.
Yes.
She's like, but everything happens for a reason. Like God makes everything happen for a reason.
Yeah.
I remember like standing in the Food for Less being like, what?
Yeah.
She's like your age. So she's younger than me.
Yeah.
Her kids, she had kids much younger than me
Yes.
when she was younger. And so I was like,
her kids, when she
no,
was
this can't
diagnosed, were
happen.
in 8th grade and
Oh my gosh.
maybe 4th,
I
3rd.
can't.
And so Lisa and I went to go see her actually the day that they told her that it was cancer. She was at Huntington, and we went to go see her, and she told us and didn't seem scared, didn't seem she's like, yeah, it's cancer.
But she was such a
fun, she was in such good spirit, and she whispered to us because they hadn't told the kids yet. The kids were just about to walk in,
But I remember we saw her husband when we were leaving. We saw her husband coming down the hall, and he was like, pray for her, she needs a lot of help.
Yeah.
He was worried, and she was like, yeah, all right,
right, and that embodies who she was.
Seriously.
Yeah. And so then we went to go see her right before because Lisa and I were going to the beach. That was the year of the big family trip. So Lisa and I were going to go to the beach. It was July 4th. Steph was like,
do you remember? Oh yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, Steph was like, it was July 4th.
Yeah.
And Steph was like, maybe we should go see her. I was like, yeah, let's go see her because, it's going to get crazy. We're going to go to the beach. We're not going to get to come back to see her. Or, it's going to be busy. So we go to see her. And we're in her room. And,
it was the
still.
6th floor.
Yeah, it was the 6th floor. It was pretty high up. Natalie was very just the life of the party. And still, being so sick was
do you remember when she was
shaking?
She was shaking, like dancing or something in the bed, and we're like, oh my God, you could go ahead. But remember, she's like, it's me. And we're like, no.
So we're standing there, we're talking, and Natalie's like, it's me shaking the bed. There was an earthquake.
A big one.
A big one. And I don't know what possessed me. We were all standing around her bed.
And I would be so proud.
And we all held hands.
Everybody hold hands.
We started praying the Our Father. I was like, hey, let's just pray because we didn't know what else to do. There was nowhere for us to duck and cover.
I was standing there and I locked eyes with a nurse, and I was like,
there was a nurse in the doorway. And she started praying with us too.
Filipino nurse was for sure Catholic.
She started praying with us, and we were and she's like, it stopped. And she's like, everyone good in here? We're like, yeah. And then Stephanie said, I were like, okay, we're out.
Bye.
You guys take care. We love you. Be safe in here. We're out. And we tried to use the elevators, remember? But they were not on because there was just an earthquake.
Oh, yeah.
Safety.
Oh, my God.
And unfortunately, that was the last time we saw her. Because then 2 weeks later, she passed away. So,
but she did have a beautiful wedding ceremony, right?
She did.
A renewal of vows.
A vow renewal for her and her family, for her and her husband, and the kids were there, and family were there. They got cake. They got the whole thing. They wheeled her down. Excuse me. They wheeled her down to a lobby area. Excuse me, my coffee. And yeah, they just did that, and it was special for them. And I'm still in touch with her husband and her kids. I still talk to them. Her daughter is now in college. Her son is a junior in high school now.
That's crazy.
And I check in on them every now and then and just message them, just hey, what's up? How you doing? And yeah, her husband's working hard.
I will tell you, she's someone that I thought would not die.
Yeah.
She's somebody for a long time after. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe she's gone.
Yeah.
It's not, maybe, I don't know, because they're young or because they have so much life. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
That was a hard one.
That was a hard one, for sure. I remember just sitting at the beach house after I got the news.
Yeah, we were actually down at the beach.
We were down at the beach, and I was like, I'm gonna go back up top for a little bit, and I just sat on like these chairs and just sat there for a little bit, and people kept trying to like come up to me and be like, get a drink, get this. I'm like, yeah, I'm cool right now. That was a tough one.
It was. It's hard to lose someone young who's unexpected. I'll share that I lost, and I'll make it super brief, but we had in 2020 is when I had my son, when I had Chris, little Chris, and because I was going to go on leave, we had to hire someone to cover me. And it's so funny. So we interviewed my friend Andy, who has now passed, and she was like younger than me, maybe like 3-4 years younger than me. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I left the interview being like, this woman's going to take my job. Like, cause she was so good.
Yeah.
And I am like very much like an unorganized, I'm good at what I do, but I'm very messy, very disorganized, very like, oh my God, kind of like just hanging on to threads a lot of the time. And I was like, oh my God, she's so good. She's so concise. She's so smart. And I was like, shit. She started in 2020 and our jobs work very closely together. She's marketing communications, I'm development, and we're literally a team of 2. So we like relied on each other for most anything. And she was as close to perfect as you could get. Like from Utah, from a Mormon family. Mm-hmm. She was a huge advocate for domestic violence survivors, abortion rights, reproductive health, sexual health. Like, so she was kind of like grew up more in a Mormon family, but had evolved kind of a lot more forward, like left thinking and forward thinking, and just I would literally go into work and be like, you're so much smarter than me. Can you please explain to me what this means? When like laws would pass or like during election time, mm-hmm. I'm like, what do I do? And I would say in December, when we went to go visit Kathy in Flagstaff, we went to see Kathy in 2022, October. This woman was like, would work all hours of the night. She worked so hard. And then she called me and my boss, like devastated. Let me go back. June, July. This is like the devastating part of the American health. What is it called? Healthcare system. Without divulging too much, like we shared an office. We worked literally physically closely together. She started having these symptoms of like, oh, my stomach, my cough. I have this thing. I don't know what it is. I never got COVID, but like, I don't know it's COVID. I don't know what it is. And then I remember one day she's like, I need to just lay down on the floor. Like my back hurts. I'm just so... I remember her begging Kaiser, like, please just get me in. Something's wrong with me. But it's this thing that we experience as women, right? Oh no, just lose weight. Oh no, start eating this. Yeah. Oh no, like, no, something's wrong in my body. And I'm telling you something's wrong in my body. I've lived in it for, 40 years. And I remember her being like, I'm just so frustrated. Like, I just can't get an appointment. I just can't get a response. When we went to Flagstaff, I remember being on the road talking to them in a meeting and her giving me the download because she's like, I'm going to have to be out because I'm going to have some type of small procedure. That was in October. And she said, I'm not going to be able to make it to the gala, which was October 19th or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's when I knew like, oh, shit's getting real. Right. Because she's such a hard worker. She doesn't go to the gala. And then from there on, it's kind of like downhill. Like she moves in with her sister, like everything, she can't really eat. It's just all this awful situation. And she ended up having cervical cancer. And she passed away in May. She was diagnosed in like December. She's 38 years old. Yeah. And around, I don't know if it was December or January. No, it was the beginning of the year, beginning of 2023. She's like, can you please help me move my stuff? She was in the hospital. But she's like, my sister and a couple of my other friends are going to help move my stuff. So Chris and I went to help move her stuff. And it's so interesting what you learn about someone's life. Like the way she was in the office is the way she was in life. I'm like, oh my God, she's so organized and everything is in its place. Yeah. But you could see the evolution, like cleaning out her groceries of like stuff that had expired in the months that she couldn't eat anymore. It was just like this very like, oh my God, this could happen. This could happen to me. This could happen to anybody. This could happen, that one really jacked me up. That one, her passing jacked me up. And then my boss and I had just had the gala. We're like, should we go? Should we not go? It's in Utah. Like, we got the cheapest flight with like, I think not Frontier, with like JetBlue. a literal backpack. All we took was a
I remember
backpack.
you saying that.
One night in like a cheesy motel and back. And it was, I'm so glad we went, but it was just like, I still sometimes like, I can't believe she's gone.
Yeah.
I look back, and then like she left this treasure trove of like stuff for us at work. Like it's almost like preparing for whatever we needed. I go back all the time. I copy her stuff. And it's just sad. Like she was just so smart and so loving and so kind and so tight with her family that I'm like, there's so many awful people who are still living in the world. And one thing that I'm not proud of, but I think is hilarious, is I always joke with Chris, because he went to help her move her stuff, is that when we were on the way, he's like, this is a really great table, right? And I'm like, mind you, she's still alive at the time. She's like, and he's told her sister, like, this is a great table. Of course, he's like, wow, this table's really great. She's like, and her sister is like, has 3 kids. She's running around. She's like, just take the table.
Right.
Like, I don't want to pack any more stuff. She's like,
yeah, post it.
Christopher. So every time I go outside, he's like, yeah, it's like a hole for the umbrella and everything else. Like, please don't take my friend's table. This man took the table outside, yes, with the umbrella in it.
Yeah.
So every time I said that, I'm like, thank you, Andy. And he had said, like, we'll give it back to her when she gets better. And so we have the table. But I had to throw that in there because Andy is like.
And she would have been fine with it.
Oh my God, she was so generous and so kind. But like, I think it goes back to like when someone's older and they've lived a good life, you expect, she lived a great life, but I'm saying you expect them to go. It's when they're young.
Right.
That you're like, oh no, this is not finished.
Yeah.
And I think we all have somebody like that who has touched our lives that like they probably weren't ready to go.
Yeah. For me, it would have to be my ex-boyfriend, Sal. We dated in the early 2000s.
He was a part of the family.
Yeah, we broke up around 2006. He was a part of the family when we were dating. Like holidays, birthdays.
Yeah.
And he was like similar to Natalie. I feel like he was like the life of the party. He lived life to the fullest. He
was fun.
He was fun. He was a good guy, very caring. Yeah. And, over the years, we managed to maintain a friendship. And he passed away about a year and a half ago. I remember, I think it was a Sunday, and I'm sitting downstairs on the couch.
I was next to you, yeah.
And Edith had FaceTimed me.
How did you meet him? I'm sorry to go back because I know there's a connection. I don't understand.
So Sal and I met online back in the day, and then we started dating, and then we broke up, and then 1 year for my birthday, I had like a get together at Dave & Buster's, and
that Dave & Buster's trip.
We were friends, and I had invited him, and he said, "Oh, can I invite my cousin, who's Veronica, and her husband, who's Jaime?" And I said, "Of course." They came, and then they said, "Oh, can I invite my sister? She's just getting off of work."
Yeah.
And I said, "Of course." So Edith comes. So that's where my brother met Edith.
Who's now his wife.
Who's now
Valentina's Nina.
Yeah. So that's like
So he made a
story.
Connection for you. That's a family.
Yes. So I was sitting downstairs by myself. I think I was by myself. Where was Mom?
I was sitting next to you. Mom wasn't there.
No, you were upstairs and you came down.
No, I was not. I was sitting next to you.
No, you were sitting next to me. You were.
I was sitting next to you.
We were watching TV.
Yes.
Edith FaceTimed me.
Yes.
And she's like, "Sal died." And I was like, "What?" Like, I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Sal died." And I was like I couldn't comprehend it.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen him in a couple years. This point, we were talking like off and on, like texting, "Hey, how are you? How's the family?" And when she told me that,
she also then was like, "Chava."
Right. She was like, Chava died. And I was like, "What?" And it just didn't register to me until.
No, it registered. You dropped your phone until it registered. She like dropped her phone And I like got it. I was like, thank you. All is fine. Like, you good, Edith? And she's like, yeah, we're just like, we don't know what happened. And then at that point, Mom walked in.
Right.
And Mom's face dropped because you were losing it.
Right.
And Mom was like, what happened?
Well, one, you don't expect it. It's so out of the blue.
Right.
And two,
he wasn't sick.
At this point,
he was young. He's your age, right?
At this point, I didn't really have a lot of non-family members pass away. Like I still don't have a lot of friends that have passed away. I think he's like my only friend that has passed away. And so after we got some information on it, one thing about Sal, I'm going to go back, is that he loved movies. Like, he was an avid movie watcher. He loved movies. He'd go by himself. That was one of his hobbies that he loved to do. And after we found out some information, it's sad to say, and it makes me sad because, like, he passed away by himself, like, in the parking lot of a movie theater.
Yeah.
So that, like, really, like, I believe, he had a heart attack. He passed away, right away. So hopefully, he wasn't in a lot of pain and he went quickly. But to pass away by yourself in, like, a parking lot in that way, like,
I think of it whenever I pass by that theater. I don't say little prayer for him, but
it was just so sad. So, he wanted to be cremated. I don't know the thing about Sal is, like, he loved, like, the national parks. So I believe, like, his sister and, like, close family friends, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were gonna go to, like, Yosemite and, like, spread his ashes. So it was just very sad. And my first friend that that passed away. So
fun fact about Sal, he planned, how old were you when you planned that turnaround trip?
I was not able to go. I was not 21 yet.
Girl. I think I was 30.
Okay, then I was 21.
You were just freshly 21. I didn't go on that trip.
You turned 30? How old are you now? How old are you now?
I wasn't 21.
But we're 8 years apart.
But I wasn't 21. Then it wasn't your 30th.
How old were you?
Or I was.
How old are you right now?
Right now, 48.
Okay, and I'm 42, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 years apart. So if I was 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you were 30, 27?
Maybe.
Was it like a big birthday? Maybe
I was younger than
it was
30.
April though, so maybe
I wasn't.
Yeah.
28 maybe?
I mean,
maybe,
also I was up in the Bay, so maybe it's like when I was in college.
I was definitely, was I 21? I don't know. All I know is the rum and cokes were flowing. I'm going to the rum and cokes were flowing on that bus. And I got so fucked up. I was shit-faced. By the time we got to State Line, I wrapped myself in a towel. I couldn't, like, I was so sick. I was, like, puking by the time we got off the bus. Like, not in the bus, but, like, by the time we got off, I was, like, fall down drunk.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah. And then all I could do for, like, several of the hours of the trip was go to the pool at Peter Piper Paul. What is it? Big Ben's.
Buffalo Bills?
Buffalo Bills. Wrap myself in a towel and lay out in the sun. And the person I took with me at that time was so mad because they were pretty fun. Oh yeah. They were so bad. They're like, you're so bad. I mean, you're so stupid. Like, you just got wasted. You wasted the whole day. And I was like, wrapped in my towel, bitch, in the sun. But Sam was a nice guy. He my favorite thing was when he would go to so our Nino. Fun fact also, Nino says that everybody calls him Nino. He's really just our Nino.
Right.
Lisa.
Yes.
You fakers can call him that, but he's not Nino. But our Nino is very argumentative and very like, I'm right. And Sal is really the only person who would like go toe to toe with him.
I remember they were sitting in Nana's living room arguing about tripas, right? Or like the cow intestine in Menudo. And I'm like, what is happening right here?
Listen.
Like they were not backing down. And I was like, oh my goodness.
And when it comes to good food,
I know I'm sorry. The typing. I know I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry.
When it comes to good food,
we might have some visitors. We might have some visitors, so I was just confirming.
He loved.
Not here. It's not right now.
He loved, another thing about salads, like, he was a down hard foodie.
Foodie.
He loved food. And not just like regular food, like good food.
Oh yeah. And I'll tell you, I would say with the 3+ argument, if it's about food and it's about good food, I'm gonna, whatever Sal says, I'm going for. Yes. But R.I.P. Sal, Natalie, Andy, gone way too soon.
You know, another one was a difficult for me, but I don't think I ever really like vocalized it. Was Uncle Renee, and that might sound a little weird because he lived back east and like
because it's more it's
and
hard when
like
you don't like know them well,
right? But that was about the time that like AOL came out with like AIM and stuff, and so like we used to chat online. Like we used to like,
I remember you.
He and I used to like chat online, and like Grandma would sit in Mom's old room by the computer that we had, and I'd be like, Grandma, what do you want to tell him? Aww. And she like didn't understand like what was happening. And then I'm like, okay, he said blah, 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 blah. And she'd be like, but like right now? I'm like, yeah, he's like on the other side of it. Like, aww. And so yeah, like we like would talk and like we would email back and forth to each other. So I guess I just never like vocalized that.
Like Uncle Renee's passing, I didn't know him that well, but I think I felt the sadness for his siblings.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for Nana. And your mom stayed back. That was so hard. Stay with Nana, remember?
Yes.
Yeah. Her and Pete stayed back, right?
Stayed back. So I think that's where I remember sitting in Pete's little house. We were all crammed in the living room when they came back with the ashes.
My Nino Jaime.
And they walked in with the ashes.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, I can vividly picture it right now.
Yeah.
And like everyone just like
quiet
and lost it. Mm-hmm. And I just saw like how sad, like that was the first sibling of them.
So you remember what Grandma told my Nino Jaime?
No.
When like she like hugged him with the urn?
No.
I was told, I think my Nino Jaime said it, that Grandma hugged him and was like, thank you for bringing my son back safely.
I know you were gonna say that. I feel like I heard that before. I know.
Yeah, and then also, do you remember like laughing during the rosary? Do you remember why?
No, but I remember. No.
Well, my Nino Jaime had stepped in dog shit. And he was like, I think it was my Nino Jaime had stepped in dog shit. And he was like by us. And like, everyone just kept like, what is that? My dude with the urn. Like, he had like walked in with the urn. Dude. People were like, what? And it was a small house. And there was a lot of us in that house because they were redoing Grandma's house. And everybody was like, what is that smell? And finally we saw it on his shoe and we like all started laughing.
I don't, but is that the funeral where Nino packed Adrian's pants instead of his? Was that the funeral? So Nino packed a suit, but he was like, just for reference, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they were shaped very differently. Adrian, tall, thin. My Nino, all round in the front, like our Nana, big guy. Yeah. That's when he packed his coat and his shirt. He packed Adrian's pants, and they had to cut his pants in the back. Do you remember that?
No.
They cut his pants in the back.
That had to have been like a Nogales funeral.
No. They cut his pants straight down the back. And he just was like, look. The pants were split in the back.
I do not remember that.
Yes, I have to ask my mom. I don't know if she's awake. I'm not going to bother her. Also, Uncle Rick, something me and my mom were talking about. We just found out that my uncle, I don't think you guys have even met him. My Uncle Philip, he goes by Widow. We call him Widow. He passed away a couple days ago, my dad's brother. It's interesting because he was with his partner for, since I was born. So like at least 50 years. For the majority of their relationship, they lived in Maine. And so gay couple, like, I feel like soulmates. And then maybe like 10 years ago, Rick took care of him his whole life. He came down with dementia. So they moved to Las Vegas. My uncle had some health problems. And so they moved to Las Vegas where it's more like a drier climate. And then his partner died 2 weeks ago. And he died like a week later. Yeah.
Broken heart.
I know. But all that to say, I asked my dad, and my dad's like, it's really sad, but like, I don't want to be a hypocrite. Like, my brother lived far away. We weren't as close as me and my other siblings. And I think that's kind of how it was for me with Uncle Renee, is that like, I was sad. And I remember how sad this funeral was. We couldn't even really speak, remember? Mm-hmm. To not know them. And my biggest regret is not knowing Uncle Renee. Because my mom's like, you guys are so similar. Yeah. He was like he was into politics. He was like a Democrat. He was against like, injustice and people. And my mom found a lot of his buttons one time. Mm-hmm. And all the buttons are like anti-war. Like I was like, damn, I wish if I would have known, I would have made more of an effort to know him. Mm-hmm. I do have one memory of going over when we went to DC for the Stand for Children. I was in probably 8th grade. And we went to his house where him and King. Yeah. What is King's real name?
Charles.
Okay.
Charlie?
Yes. Oh, yeah. They had these like figurines of like naked sailors.
I never went to their place.
And I remember him walking around and just being like, what is he doing? He was like throwing towels on these little things. I'm like, what is it? No, Uncle Renee.
Oh.
And so we came in and we like visited or whatever. And then like I was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, it's a naked sailor with this cock out. They were so cute. But I was like, I just wish I would have known him better. Yeah. But because it's the last one before we switch, so we don't make everybody sad.
Yeah.
Because I think we talk about the IPED a lot, but we never have really gotten into it. And I feel like this is one that involves like the whole spectrum of like hospice, caring for her, long hospice.
Yeah.
And grandma's house. It was a rough one for everyone. So I don't.
Okay. Yeah.
It was.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
Discomfort.
Yes.
Anyway, so I don't know, and I feel like there's a lot of. It was very unjust how she retired, and then let's just go back. My tia Pete was like hardcore. Single mom, raised her kids as a single mom.
Yeah.
Worked as a nurse her whole life.
Yeah, Kaiser.
Lived near my grandma. And was like we're talking about not being a hard woman. Bitch, don't you walk past that woman without her poking you, grabbing you, pinching you.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
The claw.
But like for me, it was that one time when you were trying to flip the girls. I will always go back to this video.
What?
When you were trying to flip the girls, Lisa like flips the girl, like when they were little, she flipped Sophia and Emma like over her thing and we did like backflip, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I could do it. Please, I could not do it. And they were like, do it. So I went and sat on Lisa's lap and I was going to go to do it or attempt to do it. And Tia Pete just pulled me by my ponytail.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, come on. And I like back hit the floor and we started laughing. Like it was over from there. I think she enjoyed it a little bit.
Okay. She was hardcore, dude.
What? Go for it.
I don't want to. No, because it's not. Okay, I'm just going to tell it. Okay.
We listen and we don't judge. Have you seen those TikToks?
Do you remember?
Maybe not.
Look, hey, listen, I got it. And Tim can cut it out if you want to, because this was like the most, like, I was like, damn, this lady is.
Okay.
Do you remember when she knew she was probably dying, so she had her last party at George's place in Alhambra, that like little apartment?
Oh,
and
yes.
She gave everybody gifts, and she gave you back the gift that you left.
Yeah. So my Aunt Pete and I did not have the best of relationships.
What did she give you back?
So what happened was, when I graduated from college, I still needed one class to graduate.
Okay.
Like, so I graduated, quote unquote, I graduated, but I needed like a math class. Like we all
like
do,
all
right?
of us.
Like we all do. I needed a math class. She found out that I needed one more class. And so she like was like, you didn't even graduate. You had this big old party and all this stuff. Like, and she like gave me a she gave me like a necklace. She's like, I don't even know why I gave you that. Like you didn't even graduate. So then there was like another disagreement between us. I don't even remember what for. And I was done. And I left it on her front porch. I said, fine, you said I didn't need this. Where were you?
Why don't I remember this?
I don't know. But I was like, you said I don't deserve this because I didn't graduate. I graduated. because I didn't graduate, so I left it on her front porch. And then I left. I drove away and I left. And then when she gave everyone gifts, she gave me back that necklace. Yep. We did not have.
She's like,
It was awkward.
she's hardcore.
It was
Oh
hard.
my God.
Yeah. She gave me back my graduation gift.
So you graduated in
2006.
So you gave her back the necklace probably like a year later.
2000, maybe like a couple months later. Yeah, 7, 8 probably.
And then she saved
held
it.
on
She
to
held
that thing,
on
baby.
to it.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm telling you, diabolical.
We didn't have the best relationship,
Wow.
but I still cleaned
She
her
got
ass
the
and
last-
took care of her.
That part.
She got the last laugh.
Did she? Okay, I mean, I loved it.
Do you remember when she was like,
It was, yeah.
fuck all you guys. Fuck Christmas. Me and my kids are going to Hawaii.
Oh,
Fuck
yeah.
you guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And she left.
And she left, yeah.
And
That's
I
just-
believe they had a delightful holiday.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, it's Kathy.
It was not delightful. No, wasn't there like a big storm?
Oh, no.
Like it like rained the whole time they were there, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Look, nonetheless, we still love Stampede.
But all that to say, like, she was hardcore, but like her passing was brutal, dude. That
It
was
was rough.
awful. She
She
and then you know what I
retired.
felt bad about? Well, I remember sitting at Paul's wedding. That's when she was like sick. She was like, I can't swallow. Like I'm losing weight. I don't know. And we sat. And me, of course, we sat at breakfast at the hotel. Remember that hotel we stayed at?
Yeah.
And I was like, I haven't seen you choke once on your food. You're swallowing pretty good. Oh my God. So she had esophageal cancer, but you know what's interesting? Something I
Also
learned,
went to
fun
stomach.
fact. Yes.
Go.
I want to say something.
She's stopping us. Yeah.
Because yesterday, Allison was telling me that, you know, Allison has gluten issues and
Mhm.
she can't eat any gluten.
Yeah.
So Allison was telling me that she has a very vivid memory of back in the day, the doctor telling Pete that she was gluten resistant.
Oh.
And Pete was like, she didn't listen. She ate the gluten, ate the bread. And Allison, in her research lately, it popped up that people that have gluten issues, if they eat gluten, little by little, it starts tearing at your esophagus
Oh
and could
no.
cause esophageal cancer.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awful. So when I was going through, I was vegan for a long time, and part of that was we'll talk about this another time, but like when we get into that, like orthorexia and unhealthy, toxic wellness, where you're like, I'll do anything as long as I'm healthy, right? I was reading this book, How Not to Die, and it's by a doctor who teaches you like all the ways to eat and like when eating unhealthy, what it leads to. And I remember sobbing in my car because I was listening to an audiobook. I don't know if you remember Aunt Pete walking around with a like Costco size thing of Tums.
Yeah.
Because she
Yeah.
always had
Always.
heartburn.
Always.
And one of the things was when you eat things you shouldn't be eating, or like greasy foods, or when you have untreated reflux, it messes with your esophagus, that then causes esophageal cancer. So, and esophageal cancer is like the deadliest form of cancer. It's right there with pancreatic cancer.
Damn.
And it was just so fast with her too. I remember thinking she hasn't even been able to enjoy her retirement. And
Because she retired, she got it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still went on a couple trips with her friends that she had planned.
Yeah.
And then 3 months after that was on hospice.
Yes, and I remember her she fell at home. And then
Going
I
to
remember
Alhambra
going,
hospital.
Uncle Jaime was here, and I was
Yes.
on my lunch break, and I was like, I'm just gonna go. It was not. I went to Alhambra, but before that, we were at Kaiser. She had Kaiser, right? Kaiser
She had
Sunset.
Kaiser, yeah.
And I remember the
I think
doctor.
Alhambra was first.
Yes.
Yes, because I saw her at Alhambra. Yeah.
I remember being at
Because
Sunset.
they
It
had to
was-
get the ambulance. Sorry.
Yeah,
They
no,
took
no,
the
no, you're
ambulance.
right.
The ambulance took her to Alhambra, and then it took a while for them to get her transferred.
And I remember in the Alhambra hospital, Nino and your mom talking with Pete, and it was like something like, all right, well, let's get the paperwork in order, kind of like so
Yeah.
she can like
Yeah.
get situated.
Yeah.
So that was like a weird conversation to kind of just be like,
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I'm always like, no, she'll be fine.
Yes.
Be fine.
Yeah, you always try to find the positive.
Yeah, and so that.
And to
scary.
second that, to piggyback on that, is they then went to Sunset, and Theo Jaime came for that. And it was Theo Jaime, Nino, my mom, me, and Ampy. I think that's all who were there at that particular time. And the doctor was talking to them and saying, like, it's time for hospice. Like, it's, you know, and so the doctor came in with this team, and she was a nurse. So she was, like, in the medical field, but, like, so desperately trying to hold on, right?
Yeah,
because she had these young grandkids. And the doctors came in, the team came in. It was the palliative care team, which palliative care is, let's keep them comfortable, right? And they said, what are your goals? What do you want to do? What do you see? And she said, I want to get stronger so I can walk again and I can be with my grandkids and do stuff again. And it was like this eerie, like, everybody looked at each other and was like, oh, she's not understanding, like, the conversation. The conversation was, do you want to go home? Do you want to stay here? Do you want to be comfortable? Do you want to go to hospice care?
Right.
And it was just the most.
I'll never forget the day they brought her to Nana's house.
Yeah.
I was there for some reason. It was Marty, Marsha, me. I don't know who else. And
probably Nino Hyman. They were so sad.
I don't remember. I just remember having this like out of body like experience because they set her up just like how Nana was in her room and like exactly. And I remember just like walking out, like I just walked out of the house and like Marty was out there and I was like, Marty, like it was just like this like surreal like feeling. I just remember that.
Is it really happening?
Yeah. And like she hung out for 2 months.
2 months on hospice.
2 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 months.
Her anniversary of her passing was just the 22nd,
right?
It
was just
of this month.
Last week. What, 6 years?
Yeah.
6 years?
Yeah, because Maddie's 6,
I'll tell
That's
you,
right.
that gave me an existential crisis, her passing, because I was in a job, I didn't dislike the job, I liked my job, but there were parts of it that were very stressful to me. And I remember when she died, we were caring for her. Yeah. There were days that I slept in my clothes. No, was that for her? That was for grandma, sorry. Because our grandma did hospice in the same room, same house, like, you know, a few years earlier. And I remember thinking, like, and she was such a hardcore woman, like, so, not like, she was very passionate, very good at what she did, very hard, very organized, she had a party, you're going to do it to the T.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember thinking, oh my God, is this what and I was working myself to the bone at that job. And I was like, is this what we work for we could just retire and then pass away?
Right.
It literally, I
that's
had like a little bit
of
of a mental breakdown.
Because they think that they're gonna just start to like
decline. Let me tell you, I applied for another job. That's why I'm in the job I am now, because I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not wasting another minute in a job that makes me want to jump off a bridge. Like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But it really made me crazy for a while. That's when I got on antidepressants for a while, because I was like, this is too much.
Yeah.
This is too much for me to handle. Like, I don't want this to happen to me, or I don't know. I just felt like, I don't know. But there was a story I was going to tell about Ampy. Oh my God, my mom, she's so funny. There was a story I was going to tell about people. I can't remember what it was. But
I mean, you already shared the other one. You can.
I can't remember what it was. I don't know.
But it's just so different how, like, all of these different losses, regardless if it was like a grandparent, a friend, a coworker turned friend, or a relative that we didn't know much about, like, still played an important part in our lives.
Yes.
Like, so it's not the same impact per se, but it still is significant that it's still like, I don't know how to word it.
They all have different varying levels of impact, but they all have something. Like Ampy, like I said, about doing something to the T, sewing, baking, cooking. I remember watching like Hallmark movies, sitting in there with her, right? We would sit in the room with her, watch Hallmark movies. I shut the door one time. I didn't come back for 2 days because she was so fucking mad at me. She was like, I was throwing stuff at the door. It was so hot in here. I was like, I'm so sorry. I just wanted you to rest. But I remember sitting next to her, and Adam wanted to be the...
Damn, hold on, backtrack, because it said You said she was so mad at me for 2 days. It sounds like the door was closed for 2 days. We take good
No,
care
no,
of our
no, no,
people
no.
who are on hospice.
I didn't come back to Nana's for 2 days after she yelled at me.
Thank you. Because it
I left
sounded
her alone for 5
like
minutes.
the door was closed for 2 days. That's what I heard. We take great care of our family on hospice.
No.
Just saying.
Not what it was. I was sitting next to her making Adam's Halloween costume, and it was, what's that show that the kids like back in the day? But it's a cartoon, Rick and Morty.
Oh.
And he was going to be the guy with the laser gun. And I was sitting next to her making the laser gun. Do you know this woman in her delayed whatever it was? She's like, "You're not doing it right. Get the tape and put it this way." And I was like, "Mother, no, you did not." Okay, can you tell me what to do?
Yes.
And she did.
Yeah.
But
the last party she threw for Emma, top notch.
Oh my God, the small world.
Small world.
With props.
With props. And
I mean,
like,
she might get
Emma
canceled for that now, but it was a really good party. The little hats and the little
everything.
Do you remember the Shimmer and Shine party?
Yeah, that was such a sad
video of that. She was like, "You're having a party," and we're like, "This is not the
time or the place."
But we did because we're still scared of her.
I even made a Snapchat filter for that one.
I remember. I have that video.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find it right now.
But I mean, one thing about Pam is like she loved her kids.
Oh my God,
immensely.
Yeah.
She loved her at this time it was Emma.
And Declan.
And Declan immensely. But I think, it's good to, was it yesterday? I was talking to Emma yesterday about Aunt Pete. I said, back in the day, Emma, for Black Friday, your Nana would sit after we ate for Thanksgiving and she would take out the newspapers and see
circle where she wanted to go. Yeah.
So it's important, I think, for Emma especially to
remember who
she was and talk about her and because she loved those grandkids.
I know. So I guess we would encourage you to go through. I know it's hard and I know it's hard to talk about, but think about it. Go through it. Honor your loved ones or the people you love that have died by talking about their life and their death. Because I talk about death with my kids all the time because I don't want it to be so scary for them. I'm like, I'll die one day and that's okay. You're going to go on without me. I think when we were younger, it was like, nobody talked about it.
But I'm reading our notes too, though. But remember Sophia, because she was so little when Thea Pete died. Mm-hmm. She was at the funeral, but you wouldn't let her go see the body.
I don't think she was ready.
Okay.
And I think she would have had nightmares. I know some people who don't want to see the body. I see the body almost every time unless it's somebody I don't know. And I'm just taking my respects. Do you go see the body?
No.
I go see the body if it's somebody close. I know close. Yes. But if it's somebody that I'm more than funeral to pay my respects to a friend or something.
Yeah.
I more than likely wouldn't.
But you know what? I had a conversation yesterday with Nino at Thanksgiving before everybody got there. And Nino was talking about how much more time he has left.
Dude, that conversation was a lot yesterday.
And he said that when his dad, our grandpa, died, he was 48.
Yeah.
And at the time, Nino was early 20s. And Nino thought, man, 48's old.
Yeah.
And now Nino's 79.
Yeah.
And he's he reflects back. And Nino doesn't really talk about this
guy.
So it's nice to hear.
About that yesterday.
And he was I reflect back and think my dad didn't even live half his life.
Not even.
He goes, and every year after he passed 48, I was like, wow, my dad missed out on so much.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, it has to be daunting when you hit a certain age to think, I only have potentially 20 more years left, 10 more,
It's funny you say that.
That's
it's funny you say that because my parents just turned 68 and I'm like, God willing, they have another 15, 20 years, maybe if they live to be old.
Right.
78, 88.
That's the thing about our mom,
and I'm
she just turned 70.
Oh my God, 15 years is nothing.
I know.
I know. And when I met Chris, I used to talk about, he was like, what do you do with your parents? I'm like, don't talk about it. I can't talk about it. I still know. That's it. But it is scary to think. I think we need to have Nino on soon because Nino was very down to be on. And then you sent us to Theo Hyman who didn't remember shit. He's like, ask Hyman, he'll know. And Theo Hyman's I don't know
anything. But that was a visitor that I was saying might be coming that I was messaging about in January. I just got a message about it. So
I would love to know more about his life and Another one who we love, but is like far away.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot to learn still. Yeah, but I think I think it's important to honor people in life and in their death and not make it so taboo and like be honest about what it was like for you and how difficult it was. I was also going to ask, like, okay, going to funerals. Okay, so Chris is not a going to funerals type person.
Right.
And he's one of those like, well, I don't like funerals.
And if I die before him, he better go.
He will. And what would Nana say when people would say, I don't like funerals?
I don't know.
Pero si fuera fiesta, if it was a party, you'd be the first one there. Oh,
but not Chris though.
She would say, I love funerals.
Not Chris though. We're from town. He won't be the first one to the party either.
No. I would probably rather go to the funeral. I remember he was like flabbergasted when I was like, no, my kids are coming to the funeral. He's like, why? I think now kids don't always have to be at a funeral depending on who it is. If it's like a distant somebody who they never met. We went to so many funerals.
So many
funerals.
I
don't even know who this is.
Yeah.
Never met this woman. Don't know who she is.
It's just what we did.
Do you think it made us better or better people? Or do you think it's just like unnecessary? I'm just curious. You guys have had lots of students
I don't think it made us better people.
I don't think it made maybe it made us a little more compassionate. Not compassionate. A little more, what's the word? Sympathetic.
I will say this. So good.
No, I was gonna say, but I think as a child, it would scar you.
It could, I think,
yeah.
depending on what
see like a dead body, like in the casket, like that could be like scarring to little children.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You don't think it's necessary?
I don't think it's necessary unless it's like a close connection, a close family member. But
like the kids going to Frankie's the other day or weeks ago.
I think it also depends on who the person is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was cremated, so there's no body.
Yes.
So it's like a mass.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to go to a mass.
And it's so funny because Frankie was so gentle in life. It was also like a gentle funeral. You know, it wasn't like, one thing I will say is about the kids going to funerals. What was I going to say? Oh my God. I'm so old. I can't remember why. Help me, Jesus, please. Look at your notes, Stephanie. Help.
Kids. Going to lots of funerals as a kid.
Oh, I hate getting old, you guys. This is fucked up.
You need your ginkgo biloba. I still can't say it.
Ginkgo biloba.
You can't say it either.
You can't either?
What's it called?
Yeah. Say it.
Ginkgo biloba?
Ginkgo biloba?
Yeah.
Ginkgo biloba. Oh, I said it.
Oh my God, I can't do it. I can't remember. Damn you, motherfucker. It was right there and it was a good one.
I'm sorry.
Was a funeral.
It's probably my fault. I just started talking.
It was a funeral faux pas? Oh, fuck. I can't remember. It was a good one. I'm going to remember tonight and be like, God damn it, Stephanie.
You're going to remember tonight and then we get a text. We're going to text at like 10 p.m. Like, this is what I wanted to say. Maybe Tim could put it in. And
no, my kids going to the funeral. Oh, ooh, e. I don't know. Whatever.
All right.
I suck.
Can we just continue on then?
Yeah, go ahead, carry on.
I don't know where we want to carry on.
How have the losses shaped your life? How do they shape your life? Like I shared, I had an existential crisis.
Oh,
with
right.
Aunt Pete. Like how has it shaped your life losing Sal or losing like
I think
Natalie?
losing Natalie, like for me, I try to like just live life to the fullest. That's why I do a bunch of things like by myself or like I'm going to a concert in a couple weeks by myself. I'm like, I just try to live life and just enjoy my moments that I have because they are limited.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sal, it lasted all of 2 weeks. But after he passed and knowing in the way that he passed, I was like, that's it, Lisa. You're going to lose weight. You're going to exercise. You're going to get on the healthy track. That lasted 2 weeks, 2 solid weeks.
Hey.
And, but no, similar. Kind of like just living more, living life more, because Sal like loved life.
Yeah.
He lived life. He did a lot of things by himself.
Mm-hmm.
He loved to travel. He loved to try new places. So maybe living life more. I think for Nana and Pete, something that taught me was if you don't feel well, don't wait.
Yes.
Because they waited. A little too long, in my opinion, to get medical assistance. So I think like if you feel something, if something doesn't feel right, like your body, go to the doctor, get a checkup, get your yearly physicals. That's one of the things that I kind of took away from their deaths.
That's interesting. It's not in vain. So Chris recently found out, I think I've shared, he found out he has some medical stuff. Getting nothing super serious, he's dealing with it, but surprising, these things that popped up. And it's because we lost one of the students in Sophia's class. His father passed away. And he was just a few years older than Chris. And Chris is like, oh my God, what? Maybe I should go to the doctor. And then that doctor's visit rolled out all these things. And so like, yes, go get checked. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. And make sure your loved ones wouldn't want you to suffer in silence or pretend that you're not well if you're not well. How has it changed your, like, how was it like spending the holidays without them? It's different, right?
It's so weird.
Isn't it?
I think now as Nana's, it's been 10 years, 11 years. I think as the years go on, and I was kind of feeling guilty about this recently. Like, I'm starting to like forget what she sounded like. I'm starting to like, I don't think about her every day. Like, I just kind of, and I feel guilty about that. I haven't gone to the cemetery in a while. So like, I feel guilty about that. But like the first year of her passing and the holidays rolled around, it was just heartbreaking.
Miserable, right?
It was heartbreaking. Like, I think the first couple of years was just heartbreaking. I know last pod you guys talked about trying to replicate when we kissed baby Jesus. It's like,
don't let it die. Just let it go.
But like not making the tamales or together, or just the holiday. She loved Christmas, right? The holidays. So that was hard. But now it's been 11 years, 6 years.
It gets easier. They say your grief doesn't go away, you grow with it.
Yeah.
And it's funny you bring that up because I remember, so my mom's birthday is October 8th and Nana died on September 13th. And Sophia was my only child at that time. And so, when you have your first grandkids, you want to like do something for your birthday, you have them experience things. So my mom graciously was like, less than a month later, was like, okay, let's go out to dinner for my birthday. Every time I pass that restaurant, we literally passed it the other day and I was like, oh my God, I hate that place. It makes me so sad. I remember my mom just sitting there, like going through the motions for Sophia but like being devastated and just like, I don't want to be here. Like I could tell she's like, I just want to be in my bed. I don't want to do this. And every time we pass it, it makes me so sad. I just remember her sitting there like, whatever you guys want, whatever. And then we went back to her house and we had a cake and Sophie was so excited. And my mom's like, just sitting there, like
it was days and like a
and I one of my coworkers who was a dear friend of mine had hosted that year a holiday something in December, and I was like, I don't want to go. Like downstairs in like a meeting room, like we're gonna have and I'm like, I don't feel like playing games. And I had a guilty moment driving the other day. I had a moment where I started to cry because I saw a picture of Tio Chato, and I was like, oh my God, Tio Chato passed away. But I didn't go to his funeral. I could not mourn him because I was still so sad for my grandma, even though it was like a year later, a year or two.
Might have been 2.
I couldn't mourn him. Like I was like still so sad. And I think I went through a depression when Nana died because I would go hiking by myself. I was like, I don't care. Let the bear maul me, bitch. I don't care. And then as soon as it wasn't depressing anymore, I was like, I'm going to go hiking by myself. I wouldn't even walk down the street lest I encounter a rogue cholo. I'm sorry. Much less hiking in the mountains. But I think when I would fly, I was like, fuck it, let it go down. I think.
I definitely went through some of that too.
Yeah?
Yeah. But again, we just never talked about it because why are we going to talk about our feelings and our emotions and what we're going through?
I love you.
I love you too.
I love you too.
I love you too, girls.
Can I tell you a funny story about that? I have so many stories. I'm sorry, guys.
I know.
I FaceTimed with your mom the other day because she was working on something for me. And I could tell at the end of the call, she's like, she's like, I love you. I'm like, I love you too. This is so good. And I cried a little bit when I hung up.
Podcast. Opening doors.
Okay. This is not grief. This is not. Have you ever seen a traumatic death? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I had nothing to say. I've seen a traumatic death?
Yeah. Like, you ever seen like a car crash or somebody?
Never.
Or seen a dead body?
Never.
Oh yeah, like
No, like found one, like a dead body that's
Like
not
found
like
one? No.
not like presented to you and cleaned up at a funeral.
no, like I've seen like a sheet over somebody like driving past like an accident. I just said a prayer and went on my way and prayed for that family, but nothing like
No.
never found a dead body. Thank God.
Me neither. Dang.
I know.
We're not going to enough exciting places. All right. Tell me how you heal. Let's tell the people, how have you healed yourself after this?
I mean, I'm still healing.
Yeah.
Like that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you're ever fully healed. And I think every time somebody else dies, or if it's like one of their friends or like one of their family members, like I feel like it like reopens up those wounds a little bit. But I do like to journal and look at photos.
I like that. I like that. What about you?
That's a good question. How do I heal? Well, I think it's like, as Alma said, it's always ongoing. But I do like to honor the people that have passed, in one way or another. I like to honor them. So I think that helps me heal by talking about them or thinking about them or doing something that they would have, like, that they used to do. I guess that's how I heal. Talking about them helps me, like, remember, like, the good times we had with them.
I also go to mass when I feel like I need to be closer to
them. Yeah. Also, if you died before me out there, anybody listening, do not make me your trustee, your executor, nothing. I'm bad with money. I don't like people. Okay? Alma or Lisa, I have seen countless people go through being the trustee for someone or the whatever, and I'm like, listen, no, this isn't for me.
All right, so I'll go change it right now.
Oh, no,
I'm just
can't.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, so complicated.
It's
But
super complicated, yeah. Just get a lawyer to do it.
Just
don't include
cremate
family.
me. Okay.
Oh yeah,
If
cremate
I go
me.
before you cremate
Yeah.
me? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so Catholic right now. What
It's
are you talking
cheaper.
about?
I love to save money.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Dude, you love saving
And then
money.
throw it at the casino. Sprinkle. Where do you want to be sprinkled? You don't want to be. You want to be buried. Where
I
do
don't
you
know.
want to be
I
sprinkled?
don't know. I never really thought about that. I guess I should though. Think about that.
On my pad.
Did she just say she wanted to be sprinkled on her bed?
Your favorite place in life. My couch, dude. My couch is like a dip. And then Chris is like, "You're really fucking up that corner." I'm like, "Just leave me alone." I said every night, like,
Oh my god.
Wow. Oh, I never thought about that. I'll think about that and get back to you guys.
I just don't want my kids to be sad. I want them to I'm gone now. Do whatever you want. Enjoy your life. I mean, they can still enjoy it now, but you know what I mean. I don't want it to be a taboo.
Yeah. What do you do?
To heal?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really think about it that much. It will make me sad. I found a picture of my mom and grandma making tamales the other day, but it's like you. Like there's days I don't think about her at all. And I think we talked about this in the beginning, first episode, second episode, and I feel bad about that. And then some days I'll just start crying in my car if I hear a certain song or I smell something, or like it's so weird. I
have like pictures like right in front of my TV and like my couch of grandma, so I think maybe that's why I think of her every day.
Yeah. I also don't feel like people understand. Like, I don't know. I don't want to jump back in since we're over, but like, it's almost like the love that we have for the people we've lost is so great because our family's so close. Yeah. I can't really explain it to people. Yeah. You know? Yeah. They don't really get it. Like, I'm like, I don't think we could really understand what our grandma was. I've only seen Chris cry 2 times in our marriage. We've been married almost 20 years. One time was on our wedding day, and the other time was when my grandma died. You know? Yeah. So yeah. All right. I think that's a wrap. Debbie Downer, guys. I know. Listen. We're sorry. It's important to be said. We had to talk about it because we always, Steph was right. Like, we would always just be like, oh yeah, we'll talk about them later. Like, oh yeah, we'll bring that up later. The later was now. Yeah. Episode 13 without even knowing it. And I hope they don't pull our toes tonight if we said something they didn't like. It's fine. I think they'll be okay with it. Okay. Well, we should post pictures of them. We'll post pictures of them in the next post so you can see who they were. Thank you so much for giving our podcast a listen. Don't forget to subscribe,
to La Vida Entre Primas, Life Between Cousins, so you never miss an episode. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of La Vida Entre Primas.
Life Between Cousins. I'm sorry.
Bye.
Snack break.